I'm David Henrie. I've been in the entertainment industry for over 25 years. I know, it sounds crazy. Did I start as a baby? Kind of. My career began as a child actor in Hollywood, and while I still act, I've since stepped behind the camera too, directing, producing, and telling stories from a different perspective. But behind it all, a deeper question kept gnawing at me. Is this it? Now as a husband, a father, and still working in the entertainment industry, that question has only grown louder. So I packed up my family and convinced my wife it was a great idea to take 3 kids under 5 on a 22-hour journey to Italy. Why? To search for something more. In this series, we're traveling across Italy, through Rome, Milan, Florence, Venice, and beyond. But this journey is about more than sightseeing. It's a search for answers. Exploring the people, culture, and sacred art of the Catholic faith that lives and breathes here. Beauty surrounds us, but it's not just meant to be admired. It's meant to move our hearts, awaken wonder, and point us towards something greater. From breathtaking masterpieces to centuries-old tradition, I believe this timeless beauty still speaks to us today, challenging us, inspiring us, and revealing who we were created to be. Join me as we seek purpose, encounter wisdom from the giants of the past, and uncover the deeper meaning behind it all. This is Seeking Beauty. To kick off the trip, we'll be exploring the Vatican. Every great journey begins with wisdom from a guide, so I asked Dr. Liz Lev, a world-renowned art historian, if she would set me on the right path. After being stopped by a half-dozen Swiss guards, I finally met her at the Casina Pio IV, deep in the Vatican Gardens. So as I was saying, it was hard to get in here. We were stopped every 10 feet. Why would all this? I mean, I get there's, the Pope is here and it's an important place, but like they're really on it.
Oh yes, it's a separate country. We are now in the smallest country in the world. And so it's a quarter square mile surrounded by these walls with only St. Peter's Square as kind of the open part that reaches out into the world. It's a very interesting country because here we are in the gardens. 55% of Vatican City State is garden. This is a great place to begin a journey seeking beauty because this was built 400 years ago. It was built in 1561 by Pius IV, but it was built by Pius IV for his nephew, St. Charles Borromeo, who spent all day busily working in the Vatican, doing all these committees and all these jobs, part of the Counter-Reformation. But at night, he wanted to feed his soul. And so they built this little house, and in this place they could talk about philosophy, they could talk about beauty, and eventually talking about philosophy and beauty, they started to think more and more about talking about God. So this is a wonderful place to start because you're surrounded by beauty in a place that's meant to give us the possibility to contemplate.
Wow, I'm thinking about St. Charles Borromeo, all the popes, and the countless people who have sought beauty in these very gardens. They encountered God, especially in the very place where I'm standing right now.
I also think it's lovely when we're standing right here. So look out among us and we see, look at the blue of the sky and all these different types of trees. As a matter of fact, if you walk through Vatican Gardens and you know anything about gardening, which I don't, you will find out that these trees are not from here. We have Japanese maples and we have dwarf palms, and they bring all these different plants together. So as you walk through and you see the trees and you see the bushes and you see the flowers, you realize what they're doing is they're trying to represent the church through nature. A universal church where you have all of these different manifestations of beauty, all these different growths, all these different organisms that all live peacefully and happily together to the sound of the crazy parrots that have not been quiet since we got here.
Okay, so Dr. Liz, as someone with an untrained eye talking to someone with a trained eye, as I continue my journey forward and I seek beauty, what advice do you have for me?
I think you should be open to all kinds of beauty. If you think about beauty as being something that's beyond, right? It's like the Lord himself. It's there, but we can't always see it so clearly. And when we're looking at art, or when we're looking at something that is beautiful, what it really is a way to calibrate our lens, our eye, our mind, to be able to see beauty. And so it will show up in the most surprising places, in the dirty feet of Caravaggio, in the figures of Michelangelo, in the gloriousness of a garden. And so just be open to beauty, that's all.
I love that. That'll be my prayer going forward, to stay open to beauty. Dr. Liz, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. God bless you. And here we go. Let's
Good luck
start.
on
Thank
your
you.
seeking beauty.
Thank you. After speaking with Dr. Liz, I'm ready to calibrate my mind to see beauty in all its forms. And what better place to start than the middle of St. Peter's Square, a place that welcomes people seeking beauty from all over the world. Next, I'm speaking with Davide Nappi, who works in communications for the Holy See here at the Vatican. He brings a unique perspective on the relationship between beauty and evangelization, and I'm excited to learn from him. Wow, we're here at the Vatican.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Oh, it's incredible. It's such a big, vast, encompassing place.
It is. I see all kinds of people from all faiths and backgrounds. They are drawn to this majestic place for its art and architecture. The spirituality connect them with something higher and larger. Beauty, it speaks without words, without languages, directly to the souls of people.
I love that. Beauty is the language of the divine.
Yes.
I love that. That's a great quote. When I come here and I see these monuments, these living churches, are a perfect example of that ever old, ever new language of beauty that the church has kept alive. And that's so exciting to me. So I love thinking of these things that you mentioned in terms of evangelization, because I see their mentality on evangelization, and it still feels new.
Yeah, because the purpose of the art was to speak to the people of what God is. And how can you describe God with words? Without using his word. You can do it with art, because it touches you inside in your soul.
We have a huge, this is like a massive thing going through.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder where they're from.
Where are you from?
¿Dónde viva?
España, de Sevilla.
España. Sevilla. Hi. You want a photo? Sí. Okay, here we go. Hi. ¡Viva España! ¡Viva! Dios te bendiga. Ciao. Standing in St. Peter's Square, you really feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, a greater story. I'm meeting with Professor Saverio Sturm, an architect who's going to help me understand the incredible design by Gian Lorenzo Bernini and the beautiful message it sends to all who visit the Vatican. So what I love about Bernini and all the artists of that time is they weren't just a sculptor and artist of one particular work, they were telling a bigger story. They were masters of poetry, of drama, they knew how to tell a story. So put me in the place of the audience and tell me, what was the story that he wanted that audience to get when they were walking here for the first time? What was the story that he was trying to tell here?
So you have to think that when Bernini built the square, you can arrive in the square through a very little street. People walking from Ponte Sant'Angelo,
Which is a tighter, narrower road.
and then you suddenly enter into this huge space.
See, this is what I love about artists back then, because that's what directors try to do nowadays. They try to take you to a new world. This is what they were doing back then, but in a big visual, all-encompassing way. And I totally get that. You enter in here and suddenly you're like, whoa, where am I? This is a whole new place.
And when you get into the square, you find the two arms. The arms that wrote the Pope at the time, welcome the pilgrims and confirm in their faith, welcome the heretical and enlighten the true faith, welcome agnostic people and give an orientation to their life.
So the arms here are almost like an intersection of heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And you have the witness of the saints around us,
Yeah.
beckoning us to go to our higher reward. That is
Exactly.
so cool. You feel that,
Yeah,
right? When
faith,
you
yeah.
enter here, you feel you have all these intercessors above you calling you to this place. Oh, this is incredible. I get fired up about this stuff, man. I love it. Let's go. I love learning about the story behind the beauty of places like St. Peter's Square, and I'm so excited to continue this journey. But I know that to truly seek beauty in the Catholic heritage, I can't just meet with experts and historians. I also want to meet with today's practitioners. My team arranged for me to meet with Kelly Medford, a true artist, to give me a sketch lesson. Because creating art is a totally different experience than simply looking at it. And thanks be to God, the clouds cleared for a stunning golden hour. All right, so I take it this is not an accordion.
I made this for you especially because it has two kinds of paper. So I made it so that you could have drawing paper on one side and watercolor paper on the other.
That is so cool.
It's nice to have this format because you can make drawings, like panoramic drawings.
Wow.
Which when you sit in a place like this can be handy.
And you've obviously sat with amateurs like me before, so you're not going to be
Yes, I mean I draw.
You're not gonna be
teach
judgmental with
drawing
my
to people
terrible-
who've never drawn before.
Oh, good.
No, I'll do my best not to be judgmental.
How does, because thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I haven't sketched or been in art class since I was like 9, so I'm very excited to do this on camera. So this will be good. We'll
Yes.
I did my litany of humility today, so I'm ready to go. I'm a lefty. Is that all right? Am I allowed to do this?
Yeah,
All right.
that's good.
So far, so good. I'm holding my
All right.
pencil. Building on that promising start, Kelly offered me some encouragement before letting me loose on St. Peter's Dome.
You're the artist. It's your sketchbook.
Got
so
I like it. I'm being called an artist now. This is
Yes.
great. This is really good. So now what
Well-
do I just go for it?
yeah, so however it comes to you instinctively, naturally to draw it.
One of the things that I think impresses me the most about beauty and about art is I think it has a universal effect. Generally speaking, I know there are exceptions of someone that's like, Caravaggio, put a finger through it, it's ugly. But generally speaking, everyone looks at a beautiful work of art and it has an impression on them. They're paused and they're curious. Why do you think this is?
Maybe it doesn't give you an answer. Instead, it makes you, like you just said, ask a question or feel something, or you kind of wonder, like, what's the message? Even if, like, you know, say the story of, like, the calling of St. Matthew, you know, it's a very specific moment and you're drawn in to wonder.
You know, I think it's the whole world is a work of art.
Yeah.
Right? Just like you see a painter, you know that there's an artist. I see the whole world and I think, wow, God clearly put this here.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something to God's fingerprint in something truly beautiful that
Yes.
that makes us pause and makes us stunned. So what drives you? What motivates you? What gives you purpose in your work? Why do you feel called to do this line of work? Because
I think all artists feel some kind of drive. I don't know why.
calling to do it.
Yeah, so I mean, what about you? I mean, do you consider acting your art form? Do you draw and paint? Do you...
I don't draw and paint, but I do love to entertain. I like being involved with things that can entertain and elevate. I always
Yeah.
say, like, if you can entertain, elevate, and educate, the 3 E's, if you can do those 3 things, then you've done something really,
Yes.
really beautiful and worthwhile.
Making
yeah.
people laugh is also really important. Yeah.
Totally.
Entertaining.
Yes, we need to laugh. We need to laugh. People look
That's
at,
great.
you know, the stuff I do at Disney, and it's good, needed laughs. You know, so many kids have approached me from all over the world. I've had kids reach out to me and say they were in really dark times, and even my show was on for them, and it gave them a laugh that they so desperately needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
To take them out of that dark place. You know, laughter keeps the world moving.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's great.
Okay, guys,
I think
how
it's
did I
pretty
do?
good.
How did I do? Does this look like St. Peter's Dome or no? Does it look a bit
Let's
like
have
a wedding cake?
Yes.
How did I
No,
do?
It's really good. The proportions are
Not too bad,
spot
huh?
on.
Not
Don't
too
you
bad.
think so?
I'm gonna give this to my kids tonight, and they're gonna think I'm Michelangelo. I'll probably stick to acting as my profession, but I really appreciated the experience of contemplating the dome of St. Peter's Basilica in a new way through sketching. And so ended my first day of seeking beauty. True beauty isn't what's trendy or Instagrammable. It's what strikes you deep in your soul. It lingers, it transforms. And even today, centuries later, the beauty of this place continues to stir something in the hearts of pilgrims, artists, and seekers who visit the Vatican. And someone who might have even more insider knowledge of the Vatican is a guy who lived inside the walls of the city-state for decades and got to pray alongside the Pope. Actually, 3 popes. That's right, my next guest is a former Swiss guard, Frauen Bachmann. How does this happen? I'm sure there's lots of people in Switzerland. Like, how do they decide who gets to be a Swiss guard and who doesn't?
This can be very different motivations. You know, for somebody it's tradition. For example, the father was already in a Swiss guard, or somebody of the family.
Did you feel called to this in a sense?
No, it was not a driving motivation at the beginning. But I knew that it's a good thing to serve the Pope. So it was another motivation. Knew another language, another culture, but it was not the faith, was at the beginning not the driving motivation.
So can any Swiss citizen just apply to become a Swiss guard, or
No, you must be Catholic. You must have done your military service in Switzerland. It's not a condition. Then you must have, diplomas of your studies, or an apprenticeship like me, or you have university degrees. Or then you have other very, good recommendation from your parish, from the police that you have nothing done, from your community, everything. So you have to fulfill different conditions, and then you can apply for. At our swearing-in ceremony, we swear that we will give our life for the Pope in case of necessity. So if you are not Catholic, perhaps it will be also difficult to swear something like this, not for the Pope. So we have to consider also this.
how did it impact your spirituality? Because I know you served under 3 popes.
Yeah.
So how did this impact you?
You know,
and one of those popes was a saint. You served under 3 popes and 1 saint pope.
Yes, it's true. There inside the Pope's palace, I spent nights alone. So certainly you pray more because you are in a spiritual ambience.
If you could only go to one more place inside the Vatican, one more special place that means something to you, and you only get to go there one time, and then you can never go back again, where would that be?
I think it's the tomb of St. Peter. It's why do we have the Vatican here?
Because it's built on the bones of St. Peter.
It's the most important thing.
That's beautiful, and it's from the lips of our Lord, right? Matthew 16:18. You are Peter, and upon you I will build this church.
Yes, and here really, it's.
And they did. And they did. What a privilege it must be to live, work, and pray in a place like the Sistine Chapel and the Papal Palace. After learning from Frauen that the Swiss guards aren't as intimidating as their giant spears make them look, I felt a little more comfortable re-entering Vatican City. And did you know, in addition to the Basilica and gardens, it also has a pharmacy, a museum, and even a cafe? Now I'm ready for a glass of vino. My dear friend, Father Anthony Dorsa, who will be traveling with us throughout production in Italy, just arrived. and we're able to meet up at Wine Bar di Penitenzieri, known for being a favorite of bishops, priests, and nuns all around the Vatican. Welcome to Rome.
Thank you.
I can't
Welcome
believe we're
to
here.
Rome. I know.
Jet lag, you good?
No, I'm doing well. Doing really well.
So I got this wine, by the way, because this is the wedding region of my wine. It's a Barolo. It's from Piemonte.
Wow.
Normally you'd have this with like a heavy pasta with like lots of meat, but I'm nostalgic. I'm here, here in Italy. Like, why not?
Why not? Of course. You only live once.
So my first time coming to Rome, I remember I came as a teenager, and I remember seeing it and being in awe of it, which is very curious, right? Because I didn't have any faith. I wasn't practicing at the time. I didn't really have any faith. Like, there's something about the beauty that's awe-inspiring, very curious. And it kind of stuck with me. It's just amazing, and just made me kind of stop there and go, huh. Makes me think, what is it about beauty that has that effect? And then the first time that I came that I actually appreciated is where all of my memories really are. I remember I was like 21 years old, and I was with a buddy of mine, this actor named Eduardo Verasti, and he said, hey, if we go really early, a friend of mine's the head of the security somewhere in the Vatican, he'll let us go into the St. Peter's all by ourselves. We'll have the whole thing.
It's always who you know.
It's always who you know.
Always who you know.
He'll let us in, we'll have the whole thing to ourselves for like a good amount of time. And I was with my best friend and with his mother, and I said, oh, come with us, we'll see it, we'll check it out. And we get there, the doors open, it's first thing in the morning, and just the glory is overwhelming, right? You just walk in there and you're like, what? The Pieta's off to your right, whoa, you're just overwhelmed, right? And I heard someone, I thought, like, get shot behind me. She goes, oh! And I heard this big noise like that, and I was like, what's going on? I turn around, and my friend's mother's like bursted into tears. She's in tears looking around all this. And I go, what's wrong? And she barely uttered these words. She said, I used to be Christian. And I'm like, whoa, like that is the power of beauty.
I can relate to that too. I remember when I first walked into St. Peter's, just the grandeur of it all, the huge space. But for me too, the realization that, this isn't the Pope's, this is mine. Like, this heritage, this beauty, this grandeur, I possess this because I'm a child of the church, I'm a child of God. Like, this belongs to me. And that very real realization was just so powerful to have that feeling. And then now as a priest, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's even more incredible because I feel even more intimately attached to all these buildings with their altars and the tabernacles and whatnot. It's just really incredible to think that, this is such a long-standing history of our faith, of our church, and it's ours. We're the most recent inheritors of it.
Wow. A lot of times in the discussion of beauty, we miss the whole reason is to make our souls beautiful. And I've heard it said too recently that truth and goodness have had their day over the past 50 years of jousting in public ways. And the last stop here is beauty.
It's
What do
interesting
you
you
think
say
about
that. I think it's very true. It's a very open way for people to still experience God in a world that is confused by so much, disinformation that seems to be everywhere. Trying to figure out who's telling the truth. When truth has become so obscured, when goodness seems to be absent in a very dark age that we live in, beauty still shines through. It probably shines through even more brightly because everything else seems so dark. Beauty ultimately, as a transcendental attribute of God, is very much in everything He's created. And as that, everything participates in a certain degree in God's beauty in the natural realm, and then we can order our own lives to be beautiful.
Right.
It doesn't have to be this expensive private endeavor, and I think we oftentimes, when we hear about beauty, we just think immediately of great artwork, and we forget that God is a master artist, and He's given us so much already.
Well, Father, to seeking beauty.
To seeking beauty.
Andiamo. I am so glad to have a friend joining us on this journey of seeking beauty. And he happens to be a friend who can give me the sacraments, so it's a win-win. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that only the Pope is officially allowed to be filmed inside St. Peter's Basilica? I actually love that. It shows how deeply they want to preserve the reverence of this place, and that makes the experience even more beautiful for everyone who visits. While the crew captured some incredible shots inside the Vatican, I met up with Dr. Liz Lev to dive deeper into the sacred beauty of this extraordinary church. What a glorious day. Oh, it's incredible. Incredible. So I'm so excited to get to pick your brain because you are such a wealth of knowledge. So I'm really grateful for this time, and I have so many questions. But I guess let's start from the beginning. You know, I'm from Hollywood. I love storytelling. I know the architects and the artists back in the day understood drama. They knew how to tell a story, and they knew their audience. So put me in the place of a pilgrim or just a common person coming to St. Peter's for the first time.
There's something about the construction of St. Peter's and the piazza, which is just, it's an amazing story in and of itself. Imagine a film that they started in, say, 1905, and they didn't finish the film until 2025, because that's how long it took to put all of that together. So we're talking about 12 architects, we're talking about 20 popes. During the course of the construction of that amazing thing, the Protestant Reformation happens. I mean, it just seems like, how could you ever get something coherent and beautiful and upbeat done? And yet they did. It's a miracle in and of itself that we have this site.
You know, it says something about the faith of the people, because I think, where does that determination come from? I mean, some people are writing checks, some people are doing the labor, some people are dreaming it up, but they'll all be dead. By the time this thing's done, the people who first started this, who pushed over the first domino, they'll be long gone.
But even more so, exactly what you're saying about these very divergent visions and views. These are different artistic periods that are all converging, and yet somehow each one is picking up the mantle, and despite personal differences and the era changing, they manage to accommodate. So there's some very interesting problems that happen. Michelangelo is working in the Renaissance, where they like these ordered spaces. So he makes a nice, neat Greek cross church. Then they double the size of the church under Carlo Maderno right after he dies. So his whole plan of making the dome the indicator of Peter's tomb is ruined. So how does Bernini come into it? Bernini's first job, 25 years old, we need you to make something to make Peter's grave more noticeable. And that's where that baldacchino, that canopy, comes from. So there he is, faced with the problem of making a 95-foot tall, 175,000-pound canopy in bronze, and he doesn't know how to make it stand up. So Bernini and Borromini have this moment when they work together. They solve the problem of the canopy. They figure out how to make it stand up. Then they fight and go off in two different directions. But there's this golden moment where the two of them are able to bring each other's expertise. Bernini catches your eye with the gold so you can spot right from the front door, there's Peter, and then Borromini makes it stand up with this lofty effect of something pointing up to the heavens. So this is sort of an amazing tale.
How does the story continue?
So when Gian Lorenzo Bernini was doing the decoration, one of the things he used was red marble. One of the things when you walk in, if you notice, it'll have a sort of a warm feeling instead of the cold white. Imagine the whole thing whitewashed. It would be like a giant airplane hangar. But instead this red marble, this color of flesh, the color of the world.
Almost womb-like.
So you feel like you're in something very, very human and warm, drawing you down towards the core. Then when you see the huge canopy, which is there to really focus your eye on the presence of St. Peter, and just before you get to that canopy, you have this sort of deep chasm in the church. So you look down into that hole in the ground, and there is the tomb of St. Peter, which is where they threw the body of that fisherman who was murdered for a crime he didn't commit 2,000 years ago. And from that injustice, all this beauty grows. So if you see the golden ball on the top of St. Peter's dome there?
Yes.
If you were to drop a plumb line from that golden ball, would land in the hole in the ground where they put St. Peter. What better way?
Unbelievable.
What is that all about? It's about the beginning of the gift of the papacy. 266 men who have taken that place for this 2,000 years and is still going strong. That's what that building tells us.
I get so excited and grateful at the same time to be Catholic because it's like the degree of thought and also divine intervention, also seeing how broken men worked with God's grace. is just overwhelming. I mean, it's overwhelming. The fact that the guys who architected all of this and figured it out are as broken as we are. And I couldn't imagine if I was ever put in charge of doing something like that. There's just no way. And the fact that God worked with those broken men and women to make it happen is so beautiful to me. Now, I noticed this statue, beautiful statue of St. Peter, with a foot that looks like it's melting. What's going on here?
That is part of the decorations of the first church for pilgrims who were coming before the new basilica that you're visiting now.
Oh, so that's an ancient.
So it's actually one of the oldest statues that still exists in the basilica. It's a statue that was made by a man named Arnolfo di Cambio. And Arnolfo di Cambio was the original designer of the Florentine Cathedral. I mean, he was a hugely important figure in Florence in 1300, and to have him come to Rome to execute a statue was like having Michelangelo come 200 years later to make the Pietà. And as a matter of fact, Michelangelo was unknown when he came to make the Pietà, and Arnolfo di Cambio was a superstar. And they hire him to make a bronze statue. Now, bronze is 10 times more expensive than marble, so this is going to be a big deal what they're asking him to do. So why are they investing so much time and money in it? Because the pilgrims are coming to St. Peter's. And so having something that people could touch, having something where they could make physical contact. This has always been a problem with holy years, or with any kind of experience. People come to Italy, they're on vacation. How do you have an experience? What's the difference between a visit and an experience? Something that remains with you, a moment where you felt something. Well, that statue of St. Peter became the moment when people could feel something. And what you look at are toes and sandals. He was a very good toe and sandal maker, Arnolfo di Cambio. That have been completely melted away to the point where you just have these two clumps of bronze. But ordinarily to do that, that's 1,650 degrees and a soldering iron to do that. But what you're looking at in there is 98.6 times 700 years of millions of people leaving their prayers and petitions at St. Peter's feet. This is testimony to pilgrimage. How many people have come before us? How many people will come after us? All of us asking for Peter's intercession, asking for forgiveness, asking for salvation, asking for help.
I remember as a kid coming here and touching that foot. I don't know if you can touch it now, but I remember I touched that foot, and that probably is my most vivid memory of Italy when I was young. That comes to mind immediately. What a simple yet perfectly genius idea to get people to remember that experience. Well, Dr. Liz, I don't want to take any more of your time. This has been absolutely incredible, a true joy and honor to get to share your knowledge with us. So thank you so much.
Art, faith, Prosecco, and the Eternal City. Thank you very much, David. It's been a joy.
Va bene. I could have talked for hours with Dr. Liz about the deeper meaning behind all the details in sacred art and in St. Peter's Basilica. But I've got a date tonight with my wife, Maria. So wow, we made it. 3 kids under 5. So 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old.
On a plane.
17 hours of travel. We made it. We did it. You know what? It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't actually. I think just the build-up going into it and thinking in your mind how bad it could be is worse.
The anticipation. I loved what you said because we were trying to figure out do I bring the family? Do I not bring the family? It's going to be 5 weeks away from the family. What do we do? But I really loved what you said, which was if you have the ability to do it, a kid shouldn't be away from their dad.
Because we talked about what would it look like if we stayed home in Idaho? What would it look like realistically?
Yeah.
And I felt bad for them. I feel like I can, you got to do what you got to do, but I would feel bad that they would miss out on you.
I'm really glad they got to be here for this. I really am.
Yeah.
We can keep some semblance of normal and keep a routine and keep it going.
And Rome is a really good first stop.
If you would have told me, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago when I was a teenager just finishing all my Disney stuff, one day you will be married, you will have 3 children, you'll be making a docuseries on beauty in Rome. I don't think I would have believed it. I think I would have said, how is that possible? I'm not even Catholic. How is that? And now, I wouldn't trade any of this for the world.
To Rome.
Wow, to Rome. This is going to be a great trip. I can already tell you that.
I'm ready.
That age-old saying that every journey begins with a single step suddenly feels real to me. This was our first step, traveling to Italy with my family by my side, stepping into the beating heart of the church with St. Peter as the rock. As Dr. Liz reminded us, we must remain open to beauty in unexpected places and be open to surprise. And we were. From the quiet wonder of the Vatican Gardens to the grandeur of St. Peter's Dome, from centuries of architectural storytelling to the silent prayers of millions who've stood where we stood. It all points to something greater. Beauty is not just decoration, it's the language of the divine. It draws us in because God made us to seek Him. God is the source of all beauty, its author and origin. People come to the Vatican searching for beauty, and in doing so, they encounter God, whether they realize it or not. I find myself among them, overcome with wonder and awe. And I know this is only the beginning, one step into seeking beauty. And I can't wait to see where this journey leads next.